Hey everybody, Joe Ward here. It is highly probable that you believe that you do not lie to yourself. Well, if you'd like to find out if you do, stay tuned, buckle up, and watch on because you are at the right place. So let's get this show on the road. For my Spanish-speaking friends, let's get El Show on El Rodo. 2 years of Spanish here, feeling rather fluent. I guarantee that you're going to learn something big and new in this video, or I'll give you all your money back. Let's begin by hearing how others answered the question, are you better than the average person at resisting temptation? Are you better than the average person at resisting temptation?
I don't know. I think so.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just so you know, about 70% of the people answered that they indeed were, which of course is statistically impossible, but I'm not going to go into statistics at this point. What I'm going to do in the next few minutes is to let you know exactly how making a resolution, resisting temptation, and lying are all tied together. They do interface. Let's begin by common New Year's resolutions. I am going to lose 10 pounds. I am going to quit smoking cigarettes. I'm going to quit smoking pot. I'm going to drink less alcohol. I'm going to save more money. I'm going to quit watching pornography. Now, personally, I would never, ever make that resolution. Hey, if I offended you, then you need sensitivity training because we perverts have feelings too. Let's take the first resolution as an example. I'm going to lose 10 pounds. Well, at the time you make the statement, you believe that you have the ability and the will to carry out this resolution. Let's take a look at some of the results. About 92% of all people will not keep that resolution within the first 3 months. At the end of 1 year, it's even worse. Only 1 to 3% had lost 10 pounds or more and kept it off. And if a person were over 50, the results were even worse than that compared to the younger folks. Now let's talk about the time you make the resolution. At the time you make the resolution, you believed that you were going to do this. So you overestimated your ability to do this. And second, you underestimated the difficulty of the challenge. That's actually two different lies that you told yourself. Oh yeah, I can do it. No, you can't in most cases. Now note this Joeism. You believed you could and that you would, but you couldn't and you didn't. You clearly overestimated your ability and your will to resist temptation, and that is why most Americans are overweight. Statistically speaking, when you make a New Year's resolution, you're lying to yourself. And most people will say that they have trust issues. Well, I can tell you this about trust issues. The reason you have them, you say, is because you can't believe what other people say. Let me defend the people lying to you. In most cases, the majority of cases, they actually believe the lies themselves, and now they just disseminate them or pass them on to you. But remember, they're not intentionally lying because they're already lying to themselves. And also know this, you are a better judge of whether people are lying to themselves than they are. And that's kind of interesting. But other people are a better judge at whether you're lying to yourself or not. So you say to yourself, what's the big deal? Once a year I make a resolution, I lie to myself if I don't keep it. Well, the fact is that every day you make resolutions, declarations, or statements to yourself and others. Let me give you a small example. You know people who are always late to everything. They say, I'll meet you there at 6 p.m. They're not going to meet you there at 6 p.m. Now, at the time they say it, they actually believe it themselves, but they lie to themselves all day long. Let's say you go to the grocery store, you're shopping, and you go, well, I'm going to buy this box of cookies, and I'm only going to have one cookie a day. Good luck with that. Not going to happen. You may think that a particular job was only going to take about 5 minutes to accomplish. I'll see you in 5 minutes. It'll only take 5 minutes for me to take care of this problem. No, 10, 15 minutes later, you're still not through. You may think that something is going to cost only $10 a part, for example. It's going to cost more than that almost always. And temptations vary widely among people. Some of my really strong weaknesses have to do with food. Nacho cheese, Doritos, and kettle potato chips. I'm addicted. I believe they put heroin in these products. Don't call the manufacturer, please. I don't want to be sued. I'm just joking. Another area of temptation is sex. People tend to overrate their ability to resist temptation and underestimate the temptation. I can tell you this, smart people avoid the situations to where they don't have to be faced with the temptation. And for those of you who think you can have an affair and get away with it, good luck with that. If you're a guy, I can tell you this, women are smarter than we are psychologically and socially. And they may not know what's up, but the universe contacts them and tells them something is up. You can't get away with it. It's impossible. Drugs are obvious. A person could have used crack cocaine, went into rehab, come out of rehab, stayed away from drugs for 2 or 3 years, yet if a drug were presented to them when there are no witnesses around, would they use it? Very, very often, yes. Let me ask my friend Bo. Bo, do you have a drug problem? Now, I do use 3 drugs almost every day. Caffeine, tequila, and Viagra. Now, I don't call them problems, I call them solutions. Here's what some people have said about resisting temptation. Rita Mae Brown said, "For those who say the Lord's Prayer, lead me not into temptation, for I can find the way myself." Franklin P. Jones said, "Nothing makes it easier to resist temptation than a proper upbringing, a sound set of values, and witnesses." That's right. So you know, if people are watching you, you're much more likely to resist temptation. But if you are all alone, you're much more likely to fall right into the temptation. Now, what helps or hurts your ability to resist temptation? Let's say you had a good night's sleep. You wake up, you're well rested, you're sober, you have a cup of coffee. At that point in time, you are at your best ability to resist temptation. As the day wears on and you become more and more fatigued, your ability to resist temptation goes down. By nightfall, when you come home, you've worked all day, you're tired, you have a drink, you smoke a joint, whatever your vices are, your ability to resist temptation goes down even farther. And this is everybody, not just you. Now, I'm talking about resisting temptation. Now, it's only one of the many areas that you lie to yourself about. There are a whole bunch of others, and I'll just briefly mention them. One is you might think you're less biased than the average person, smarter, a better worker, a better driver, more punctual, more sensitive, more compassionate, or more honest than the average person. I'll go into some of these a little bit later. There types of lies I'm talking about are, first, outright lies. You may say, "I never lie." You may say it to yourself. You may say it to others. That's an outright lie. You can lie by omission, which means basically, well, I didn't lie to him or her because they never asked if I was having an affair. If they had, I would have told them. Well, according to Dr. Phil, that's a lie. Another one is exaggeration or misrepresentation. There's nothing about you that I would want to change. Right.
What? That's what you always tell me.
Now, what does this matter if you lie to yourself? What's the big deal? Well, it's kind of important. Imagine someone else lied to you and you trusted or believed what that person told you. And you made some decision based on that. Well, your decisions would certainly not be as good as they would have been had you had accurate data or intelligence. So if the data is flawed, your decisions and conclusions will never be as good as they possibly could. Now, let's say you decide, I'm going to quit lying to myself and others. Here are some of the benefits. You're going to make better decisions, obviously, because you have better data going in. You're not biased. You're not biased by others or yourself. You're going to feel less pressure, fear, anxiety, depression, shame, guilt. You're going to definitely feel better in terms of your psychological state. Also, people will like you better. And people will accept you for who you really are, not what you have falsely represented in the past. And also, people who lie to themselves less will be more attracted to you. Now, when you lie over time, people will know that you lie to yourself. You may find it much easier to lie to yourself than to others. In other words, other people will detect the fact you're lying to yourself easier than you. In resisting temptation, what people say they will do has little correlation to what they actually do. And I'm talking about you. For example, you may see yourself as very sensitive and compassionate toward others, and you may see someone else you work with as being hard-hearted. Yet when you really look at what you do in terms of donating your time or individual money to a charity, and let's say you don't donate your time or individual money to a charity that you feel so strongly about, and yet you see this person who is hard-hearted volunteering to do something charitable and also donating their individual money to that cause. Who really is more sensitive and compassionate? Because how you feel and what you say has nothing to do with how you really are. Science cannot find one conscious, living, breathing human who does not lie to him or herself. Now, why do we lie to ourselves about ourselves? Because how we judge ourselves is how we want ourselves and others to view us, not how we really are. We want to believe we're honest, moral, ethical, upright people. We're not. Now, why do people lie to themselves? Well, the number one reason is they're unaware that they're actually lying to themselves. We definitely, truly are biased about ourselves. That sounds like a lot of psychological mumbo jumbo to me. Now, besides Bo, here's what some really smart and famous people have said about this. Dale Carnegie said, when dealing with people, remember, you're not dealing with creatures of logic, but with creatures of emotion, creatures bristling with prejudice and motivated by pride and vanity. Benjamin Franklin said, who has deceived thee so oft as thyself? Ralph Waldo Emerson said, people only see what they're prepared to see. Malcolm Muggeridge said, people don't believe lies because they have to, but because they want to. Now that's brilliant and so true. And finally, let me share with you something that my favorite psychologist in the entire world has to say about that. True, he is. The answer to the question posed at the beginning of the video is the single biggest, costliest, and worst lie that you tell is the one you tell yourself about yourself. Now here's a bonus answer. The single biggest, costliest, and worst lie that you tell is when you tell yourself that you do not lie. We're all liars. Are you calling me a liar? Now them are fighting words. Now what can you do about it? One, identify it, recognize it, accept the fact that you lied to yourself. And two, take the oath that my favorite psychologist came up with. You go into the bathroom in the morning preferably, you raise your right hand and you say, I solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to myself and others, especially to myself. I admit I lie to myself and others. I admit that I'm a horrible hypocrite, just like everybody else. I know that I make a lot of mistakes, so when I mess up, I will fess up. I will not make any promises or resolutions that I will not keep, and I will not exaggerate or misrepresent the truth when asked about myself or others. And you take this oath at least once a day, preferably in the morning, to set the stage for the entire day. Sounds easy, doesn't it? It is simple, but it is not easy. I also recommend you share your weaknesses and people will like you better. Upcoming videos you may be interested in include how to find a mate if you are ugly, estimating someone's sexual interest in you, a new quick test to see if you are a racist, sexist, or ageist. By the way, you are. What it means when others loudly proclaim that they are not racist or sexist. How to tell if a news reporter is biased. Please share this video with others. Don't be selfish. And I would also appreciate it if you would like and subscribe to our channel. And remember this, don't get any on you.